Our boy is looking rough at the start of this chapter. Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today we're going to take a fully spoilery look at Kaiju number 8, chapter 99, and we are going to jump right into the spoilers at the end of the chapter. So you have been warned. If you don't want to have chapter 99 spoiled for you, if you haven't had a chance to read it yet, you can use this time to click away and go check out the links below the video to get yourself a copy of one of my books, Humans Are Weird, Short Stories of Science Fiction Absurdity, and Dying Embers, Science Fantasy Drama. Alrighty, we have, with the release of chapter 99, 1 week from chapter 98, an explanation of what Matsumoto was doing over that 4-week break. Now, we all know that Matsumoto likes to take a 4-week break at some point near the end of the year to plan out the year ahead, but it turns out that Matsumoto was working on giving us, let's see, this is over 50 pages of one story arc, and it could simply not fit into a single chapter, whereas it wasn't really two distinct chapters either, because as much as I loved chapter 99, it was not its own chapter. It was connective tissue connecting that was so solidly attached to the previous chapter that it really didn't stand on its own, which is why Matsumoto felt the need to release them close together like that. So chapter 98 was still fresh in our minds when chapter 99 came out, which was, good tactical planning. But the answer to our question, so what's going to show up? Is Kafka going to have to take on number 9 on his own? Is Reno going to show up? What's going to happen? And the answer was, as hinted in chapter 98 by Kaiju number 9, name-dropping Kaiju number 6, Reno walks up and blasts those Kaiju. And Reno's presence on the battlefield with that numbered weapon is so powerful that you have all of these giant class Kaiju. We see them on panel, just a few seconds prior, we see them on panel 4, just constantly blasting. And Kafka's bouncing around, blowing their heads off, taking these Kaiju out one at a time, neutralizing them as fast as he can, but he's just growing more and more desperate because these Kaiju, they're taking out the Defense Force officers. Kaiju number 9 has Mina in a death grip, and we really get to see Kafka's character here. There has been a lot of concern in the fandom that Kafka was, to put it bluntly, just a simp for Mina. That he was the kind of character who only has one goal, to be by Mina's side. But as the show stated when he rescued that little girl way back at the beginning of the series, Kafka genuinely wanted to join the Defense Force to protect people. Kafka doesn't care about, he's not a big guy who makes speeches about caring about humanity in general. No. And he does defend his friends, yes. But Kafka is the kind of hero who steps into action whenever he sees someone in trouble. Whether it was that little girl and her mother at the beginning, or his fellow Defense Force officers, because no matter how much he loves Mina, no matter how close they are, no matter how far back their childhood friendship goes, Kafka cares just as much for his fellow Defense Force officers, to the point where the other officers are begging him to go rescue Mina because she is so vital to the defense of Japan. The rest of the Defense Force sees Mina as more important than themselves. They see that one linchpin to be vitally important, but that's not how our hero sees it. Kafka sees each and every one of them as important, and he can't abandon any of them, which is an admirable principle, but in action it paralyzes him in this battle. He's not going to be able to defeat all these Kaiju, and if he tries to defeat all the Kaiju, Mina's going to be absorbed, and we already see her starting to be absorbed. It's closing in around her, which I am fairly confident with this chapter that I know where the Mina arc is going. But, I don't know, Matsumoto can surprise us. This chapter, he played it straight. But we know that Kaiju number 8 has the ability to degenerate, to counter the regeneration of Kaiju number 9. And I've theorized for many, many chapters that we are going to eventually see Kaiju number 8 rescue a Defense Force officer by rolling up, getting to a fight with Kaiju number 9. We're going to see the Defense Force officer partially absorbed, and then Kaiju basically punch his way through, degenerate the flesh that was clinging to the officer, and literally pull the Defense Force officer out of the flesh. And I think that I am reasonably certain that that's what's going to happen. Mina is going to have the absorption process begin, and Kafka's going to roll up and pull her out of Kaiju number 9's flesh. So I don't think Mina will be permanently taken in this story arc. I think Kafka is going to rescue her, revealing his ability to pull individuals out of Kaiju number 9, and then that will play into the battles going forward. But just this scene, starting on page 16, well, starting on page 15, really, when you have one of Kafka's friends, one of the Defense Force officers, begging Kafka to go rescue Mina. And it's interesting, the general, the eye patch general refers to him by his name, refers to him as a human, but the officers refer to him as Kaiju number 8. So the officers still, when in battle, they think of him as Kaiju number 8 and not as Kafka. But that could be just on the battlefield. They don't want to let number 9 know who Kaiju number 8 is in his human life if Kaiju number 9 hasn't figured out that the exact human identity of Kaiju number 8. But it could be that when they're in battle, they still see him as a Kaiju. It's hard to say. Then you just have that scene. Kafka gets that, there's that effect in the sky. Kafka senses a Kaiju presence. A presence that is so much bigger than Kaiju number 9's that it just sort of eliminates Kafka's awareness of Kaiju number 9. Now, this could be because Reno is closer, but even those giant class Kaiju, in the last time we saw them just seconds ago, all of them were blasting away at the, what do you call the places where people hide? Blasting away the shelters, trying to punch through the concrete to directly reach the shelters below. And these shelters are probably not designed to take sustained direct assaults. They're designed to shrug off glancing blows. I sincerely doubt that the shelters themselves have been directly attacked like this before. So Kafka, knowing he only has a few seconds, is responding as quickly as he can, and they're blasting away as hard as they can, but then they pause and they look up as if they're also responding to the energy of the king of the Kaijus. Because we know that Kaiju number 6 was capable of controlling other Kaiju. Will Reno, in his Kaiju number 6 suit, if he can master this ability, be able to affect other Kaiju as well? Will Reno inherit that Dai Kaiju, what is it, the Hanjo Kaiju ability? We don't know, but we do see that he can blast an ice storm across a massive area, completely icing over 4 of these giant class Kaiju at once, completely obliterating Mina's previous record of taking out 2 at once. Now, I don't know if these are dead or down for the count. It looks like they're just slowed down. And Kaiju number 8's just standing there shocked, like, what is this sudden chill? And then Reno rolls up and he looks rough. Look at the design on this final page. Matsumoto is clearly drawing inspiration from that famous scene from Overwatch of Mercy reaching down and rescuing that girl child, which I suppose Reno is doing here. But Reno's got the same wavy hair, those same mechanical wings raising out of his back. They're clearly an addition from last time, the weapon number 6 as well as the suit number 6. And just look at Reno. He looks rough. He's got lines under his eyes. He's He looks tired, he looks exhausted, and he looks determined and ready to just take out some kaiju. And he's achieved his goal. He's there to support Kafka. And that's where the chapter ends. And this chapter was great. Like I said, chapter 99 by itself is not a complete chapter. It's like a sentence without a subject. Chapter 99 only works in conjunction with chapter 88, one coming rapidly after the other. This entire chapter happens in the space of less than a minute, probably. Kaiju number 9 grabs Mina, starts to absorb her, taunts Kafka. Kafka receives an order to get to Mina, which she's disobeying. Kafka's probably going to have some disciplinary issues after this. Then Reno rolls up, and the chapter ends. I am looking forward to chapter 100 in 2 weeks' time. And that's all for today. But Reno looks rough, and this is definitely going to be taking a toll on him. All right, what do you think, my wonderful viewers? How much of a toll do you think this is going to take on Reno? Will Kaiju number 8 be able to pull Mina out of Kaiju number 9? Tell me what you think in the comments below. Hit that like and subscribe button, and peace out, my wonderful viewers. By the way, if this sounded a little sketchy, things are busy. It's Christmas. I did not write a script for this, and so I just had to wing it. Again, hit that like and subscribe button, and peace out, my wonderful viewers. Humans Are Weird, we took a vote. The second book of Human Absurdity is now available in audiobook format. Everywhere where audiobooks are sold. Barnes & Noble, Google Play, Kobo by Rakuten, and of course, Audible and Amazon. So you can now get a copy of the audiobook format of all 70,000 words of Human Absurdity.